All right, let's go. So today we are doing Parashat Toldot. Toldot from Toledo. Before I start, first of all, through the great grace of God and through the great heart of some dedicated Jew, we will have Be'ezrat Hashem our Sefer Torah. Amen. So we would like to have all the people that live in the area and those who will be in the area. We're going to give up some notice to come and join us to this venue of finishing the Sefer Torah, writing it, and make a small party. We don't do, by the way, fundraising. We don't do fundraising. The first fundraiser that Yeshiva did was the last one. We did it in 2003. After that, we just keep on teaching. We don't do it. So we use it like this, just to give us an opportunity to actually celebrate with a lot of friends, a lot of people from the neighborhood, what is it that we actually do. Also, if you have any questions, please, I would love to hear your questions at rabbigaon@gmail.com. And if you want to give us a donation, we're more than welcome to have. Look at our website, yeshiva.etzion.com, and the PayPal account. That's some great stuff over there. And if you're in the neighborhood, please stop by. We'd love to see you. All right, so we're doing Parashat Toldot. Usually in Parashat Toldot, I don't know, for years I couldn't get over the fact that, and I always like to present a different case about, what's his name, Esav, which I call the first special ed kid. But since I know today, yes, the two of you are going to, look at each other. So today I'm going to throw you a curveball, and we're going to be a little bit more scholarly than we usually are. I get some complaints from people, sources that want sources. Listen, if you want a source, I don't have patience for this. If you want sources, come here and come and join us, and we'll talk. And this is beyond the scope. I have a lot of things to do, but never mind. I like to hear from you guys, but never mind. Rivka here in our week's parasha, and this week's parasha, which is amazing, by the way, because this whole parasha covers about 77 years out of the lives of Rivka and Yitzchak. I mean, in few sentences, few psukim, 77 years go by. However, it's interesting, some of the things. So comes Rivka, and we know that our imaot, our matriarchs, are really like high caliber prophets. They're not just like girls from the hood, Sometimes they say things or they do things and it's like, what? Like last week, when Sarai, in a way, allows her soul to depart from her to the point that Abraham, was concerned. Look at Baal Turim, look at the other sources over there. Very interesting stuff. This week, all of a sudden, comes Rivka, and she throws a bombshell. What do you have, like thorns over there? You sat on a cactus or something? Sit down, relax. She throws a bombshell, and she says, by the way, he was here today, and he brought two friends with him. Yeah, so very happy. But where is he now? How is it to come? He says, Katzti bechayai mipnei bnot chad. I had enough with my life because of these daughters of Chet. For a woman like Rivka to say something like that, tzadeket she'en kamoa. I always say this, and I always say this. Okay, I'll give you something that I always say. Itan, I always think that Rivka and Yitzchak are the non-celebrity of all of our ancestors. We don't talk about them so much, yet there's a lot to see there. In the middle, there's a lot to see. For her to say something like that is, for me, really mind-boggling. How could she say, I had enough with my life because of these girls? And what exactly happens? Esav, being who he is, marries those two girls of Nechet. And who? He marries Yehudit bat Be'eri, Yehudis. I always say, Yehudit. And by the way, whatever. Let's not get into Yehudis, Yehudit, but it's Yehudit. People should not say Yehudis. What do you have, like a speech impairment or something? We have a speech trainer here, in a speech therapist in training. So but it's Yehudit bat Be'eri, Hachiti, the Chitiite, ve'et Bosmat bat Eilon Hachiti. The indication of those Chiti. These women give a tremendous aggravation to Yitzchak and Rivka, to the point that Rivka says, I had enough with my life. I had enough of this. I had enough. And it says, קצתי בחיי לפני בנות חת, אם לוקח יעקב אישה מבנות חת כאלה, מבנות הארץ, למה לי חיים? Why do I need this life? Why do I need this life? Right? It's a terrible statement to say. I mean, it's very hard. And the question is, how exactly these hood girls, those Chitiya girls, able to bother Rivka to such an extent till she says such difficult words. So the Torah tells us that Chet is the son of Canaan, and we all know, one of the 7 nations, those cursed Bnei Canaan, and most likely the worst of all, the most notorious of all, since after all from him Amalek comes. And in a way it's like evil that emerges from evil, it's very hard to deal with. Very hard to deal with. Rivka sees that, and all of a sudden she says, this thing is going to join my family? Ma! How wouldn't she get upset? How wouldn't she get upset? I don't know. I mean, think about El Chapo, from Mexico. He's like his daughter marrying your son. It's like, what? If we look at this story of Esav marrying those good girls, it says right next to it, "V'hi ki zaken Yitzchak," and then Yitzchak became old. Ki zaken Yitzchak. So it's not Yitzchak became zaken. The zaken came upon Yitzchak. The old age came upon Yitzchak. V'tichena enav miraot, and his eyes became blurry from seeing. He didn't say, and he became blind. So, kehe means unclear. Rashi explains that the eyes of Yitzchak became blurry because of the smoke. No, smoke on the water, everybody had smoke. Only Yitzchak's eyes became small, problem, was it? No, Rashi explained to us. That's because they used to bring incense for Avodah Zarah. Incense for Avodah Zarah. And that incense not only ruins your eyes, but let's look at it a little different. What happened to Yitzchak? That idol worshipping that was done in his house blemished his ability to see in a prophetic manner. He lost his Ruach HaKodesh. He was not able to see clean. Now, which is interesting. Yitzchak is therefore not able to see we're going with this trend. Don't tell me what I said last year, okay? He's not able to see the well, I'm allowed to, maybe I'll become a politician, zigzagging around. I know this year we're going to this trend. He's not able to see the lying of Esav. Esav is lying. He's not able to see so. And more of that. And how is it being done? Mainly by those girls putting a smoke screen and kind of blurring the truth so he can't really see. And to understand how they do so with two let's call it Kabbalistic aspects. By joining, thank you. By joining what we call klipa, the husk of kas, anger. Don't worry, I won't spill it.
Oh, interesting.
The klipa of kas, anger, and the klipa of sadness.
Thank you.
Of sadness. What does it mean? As the Midrash Tanchuma, kol ma'asein, all their actions, hayu lekas veleitzavon, to make somebody sad and somebody angry. Instigators. This is, you pay attention. That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu hates people who instigate. Oh, you know what he said about you? You know what he said about him? You know what he said, That doesn't come from a pure source. Don't forget, it's maybe somewhere along in our DNA somehow, but this is not something that we should have inside of us. And it says, and what it says, there's kas v'itzavon, this anger and this sadness, removes Ruach HaKodesh from Yitzchak. He lost it. You angry? No Ruach HaKodesh. You're sad? No Ruach HaKodesh. That's it, it's gone. Think about it. Chazal says in the Midrash, I think it's in Yalkuchim Oni, Chazal says in the Midrash, I try to do the best for resources, that not by incidents Esav married the girls of those wicked girls of Chet. Why? Why? Because what Chazal says, Lama alach zarzir etzel orev? Why did the starling went by the crow? Starling, the little bird. Didn't he go because they're all the same species? Yeah, the crow is big, the starling is small, but they're from the same family, by the way. That's why the Rambam says the zarzir, of course, is an off. Min taref, because it's a part of the orev. So, what does it mean? If we say, Yete hadin mechik shema, ve'yasiv lehedya mechikat shema. What does it mean? What does it mean? The following. That person who wanted his name to be erased should marry this woman who the name should be erased. Esav, what does it mean? Esav, all the time, there's women who were nervous and angry, instigating all the time, go to the husband, why did he do this to you? Why did you let him do this? Leave me alone, They drove him crazy also, on top of all. But they instigated, they brought the worst in him. Look, he marries two women, Yaakov marries two women. Yaakov married more, but you know what I'm saying. They brought the worst in him. And why is that? Because Esav says to Yaakov, Hine anochi olech lamut, velama li ze bechor. I'm going to die. What do I need this for? Desperation is a very, very dangerous thing to be involved with. Money, why do I need this? I'm going to die anyway. Allah, no. Who cares? I don't care anymore. According to the other one, if you compare the other side, since we mentioned, what's his name? We mentioned Yaakov. Yaakov brings Ruach Kodesh to Rivka, right? He says that wind, that spirit that Yaakov brings, removes the curse away. And it says, Alay atmar ben v'uah, de lo yati l'tuya alayich bari. To me, it says in the prophecy that, that's what Rivka is saying to her son. It says, on me it says that the klalot will come, not on you. Because of what I did to you, switching like this. On me. That's what Onkelos explained to us. Yitzchak gets the zchut to smell reach Gan Eden by Yaakov Beno, by his son. How? Because when he came in, it says, Ra'a reach beni kereach sadeh asher berecho Hashem. Melamed, it says, Shenichnesa imo Gan Eden, the whole Gan Eden entered with him. And if you want to look further, look at Rashi, look at the Zohar, Parashat Kedoshim, further on what it says, etc., etc., etc. Why all of a sudden he saw, he saw Tehom Ptucha Mifanav and so on. But he brought the Ruach Gan Eden. You might understand why Esav originally got the begadim, the clothing of Adam HaRishon, to try to overcome. If you have you're smelling something fragrant and good all the time, as humans, as regular people, we're going to feel better. Alachat Kama V'Chama, getting the clothes that Adam HaRishon had, was supposed to balance Yaakov over. Balance Esav over. But those girls drove him crazy. And they brought the worst in him. I don't know, I always try to find something good about this Esav guy. Feel bad for the guy, but And it says in Targum Yonatan, it says that Yitzchak smelled the Reach HaKtoret, the opposite. All the time he smelled the Ktoret of those girls. When Yaakov entered, he smelled the Reach Ktoret of Bet HaMikdash, and Reach Bet HaMikdash, the Ktoret of Bet HaMikdash, resembled the smell, the fragrance of Gan Eden before the Chet of Adam HaRishon. And it says in Masechet Ta'anit, Kereach Ktoret Busmin Tavin, the Atidin LeMikrava Betur Beit Mikdasha. He smelled that smell that's going to come in Bet HaMikdash. It says to us that we say Reach, when we say Hakal Tapuchin, the orchard of apples smell terrific. If you ever went into an apple orchard, smells good. Reach Gan Eden Alachat Kama V'Chama. So, and that's the Zohar in Parashat Toldot. And it says, V'yikitem acharem tachrim oto, ve'lo tachot lahem brit ve'lo techunam. There is something that so far on Yitzchak and Esav and all the Chevre. But there is something that we need to learn about the mitzvah in the Torah that it says, Lo techunam. Lo techunam, we'll see exactly what it is in regard to the relationship that we have with the 7 nations. And how does it connect to our week's parasha? The Gemara says that among the things that we should remove ourselves from the Goyim, Lo techunam, is Lo titen laimchem. Don't give anything, don't do anything graceful to the 7 nations. The Amar Rav said, Asur lo la'adam sheyomar kama na'eh nochri zeh. Person should say, oh, this goy is such a nice goy. Asur lo. Gam b'maaseh, also in an action. You're not supposed to give him matanot chinam. Don't give him freebies. Also kinyan karka. In Masechet Avodah Zarah, it says, Lo latet lem chanaya be'eretz Yisrael. You're not supposed to let them settle in the land of Israel. Tell this please to the Israeli politicians and all those bright lights in the White House. Probably the lights went off there. There's another, the Yisur of the Torah, is because it says, Lo yeshuvu be'artzecha pen yachtiru otcha li. If you're going to let them sit in the land, they're going to divert you against me. In other words, us, chas v'shalom, away from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So, on top of that, there's the prohibition of the Torah of letting foreigners settle down in Eretz Israel. And as HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells to Am Yisrael in Har Sinai, that after Matan Torah, I'm going to bring you to the land of Canaan, where the 7 nations live inside. V'shalachti tatzira lefanecha, and I sent the hornet in front of you. Hornet also could be an F-18. Well, could they call it hornet? But, I sent the hornet in front of you. We're not talking about that. V'girsha et achivi et haknaani v'et hachiti milfanecha. And that will dismiss them. And we spoke about it previously. I'm not going to throw them all at once, but rather slowly. Lo agarshenu mipanecha b'shana achad, pen ti'aretz shmama v'raba alecha chayat hasadeh. In other words, look at this, very interesting. The ethnic cleansing, and I'm using this term, of the 7 nations of Eretz Israel is going to progress according to your numbers. The more you multiply, the more they're going to get pushed out. A Jewish boy is born, a 7-nationite is out. That's the way it works. As he says, "Me'at me'at agarshanu mepanecha, ad asher tifre v'nachalta et haaretz," until you're going to have enough numbers to actually inhabit the whole entire land. In any case, we need to remember that as long as they settle and they still stay in Eretz Israel, pay very close attention. I have a lot of questions, and probably with my very small and limited understanding, I have a lot of questions to a lot of Gedolei Torah that I just don't understand. I mean, what they say you could. For example, when everybody was talking about the Oslo Accord, it's a disaster. It says, "Lo tichot lahem velo Elohem brit." You should not set a covenant between them and their gods. In other words, you cannot. How can you do that? There were so many different. Listen, I'm going to make a disclaimer. I am not consider myself, and I said to you a million times, a Zionist. I don't consider myself a Sephardi. I'm consider myself as, to the best of my very limited ability, halachic Jews. I'm a Jew, and a Jew ba halacha. So I'm not coming from this point of like the Mizrachis, this, but I still don't understand. I mean, first of all, I need to. My ideology is the Torah, what the halacha says. I'm not like one of those who's going to wave an Israeli flag sitting down in America. Or those who would say, yes, everybody should go to the army. All the guys from the Yeshivot in Israel should go to the army, where your son here is making money in real estate. I'm not going to be that down either. Well, he's not making money, right? And I told him he should go to the army, by the way, if that's what he wants. You know what I'm saying? It's hypocrisy. But I just don't understand. It says you cannot make a covenant with them. Making a covenant with them, with the people in the land, would cause you a moral disaster in terms of your morals and according to what you consider to be Jewish ethics. And when that is like when you declining from your Jewish ethics, you are making a covenant with their God, whoever that would be. Because now you are operating according to their ethics. That's why they say a person who lives in Chutz La'aretz is like is doing Avodah Zarah. Why? Because you're not doing Avodah Zarah, but you're under the influence of other ideas, which are not Jewish ideas. And that closeness is dangerous. So of course there's one hand, you could isolate yourself to no end. The other hand is to get strength and deal with it when you have to. But ultimately, Am levadad yishkon, you're going to settle down by yourself. We are in a situation in America because HaKadosh Baruch Hu put us here. There's a reason for the galut. Greater than us to understand, but when the time comes, we'll pick the stuff and we'll go. As HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, Be'ita achishena, on its time, I'll hasten it. But you don't push me. He said, don't push me. One of the three Shavuot. Now I'm going to tell you the following. You cannot be, if you're a leader, you cannot be a leader that tells everybody to go to Israel while you're sitting here in America collecting the cash. Even if they build you a bedvad in your land, if you know what I mean. If you love the land so much and you hold that you should not go there until HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you a sign, don't send your people there. Don't be a hypocrite. And it says, Lo yashvu be'artzecha, they should not settle down in your land. Pen yachtiru otcha, they're going to cause you to sin. Ki ta'avod Elohem, you're going to worship their God. Ki yu lecha lemokesh. You know how many Jews in Israel? I read it. It's crazy. Yesterday I read it. There are 70. You listening? 70 70,000 people in Israel who are intermarried. You think it's only in America? I'll tell you it's in Israel too. And I'll tell you more than that. It's worse in Israel than in America. In Israel you have no excuse for that. I know people in Moshavnik, they were in top units. They marry Italian girls, they marry the Scandinavian girls. It's a matter of the lack of Jewish girls.
Bibi's son.
Huh?
Bibi's son.
Yeah, Bibi's son. Sounds like a Japanese. Oh, Bibi's son. Wuss. Or should we say wuss? That's better. Wuss. We don't have this wuss in us. We became like wuss.
Wussy.
Yeah. Anyway, so the Rambam says that they're not allowed to settle down in our land, Iva Afilu Shah. The Rambam in Sefer HaMitzvot counts the prohibition of sitting in the land as Isur Torah. If you want to know exactly, in Mitzvat Lo Ta'aseh, number 51. It is, and he writes further in Halachot Avodah Zarah, Bezman sheyad Yisrael tkifa alehem, as long as the Jews are yad tkifa alehem. What does it mean, yad Yisrael tkifa alehem? Like, okay, the world is doing this, but you're sitting in your country. You're a sovereign country, right? Hey, you're a sovereign country, aren't you? So why don't you act like one? I don't know. Sweden all of a sudden put border patrol again on the borders, and so nobody quiet them. We have to do it. The hypocrisy in the world against the Jews is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And it's like a lost battle. We're barking at shadows. It's a long battle. It's a lost battle. The Rambam says like this in Avodah Zarah, Bezman sheYisrael yad Yisrael tkifa alehem, asur lanu, we are forbidden le'aniach nochrim beinenu, and going be'eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael nekiya. If you say today, there is a team in Israel, Beitar Yerushalayim, Yalla Beitar, Yalla, football team. They say, listen, this is a Yerushalmi team. We don't want Arabs in our team. It's our team. We don't want Arabs. And they say Beitar Tehora. Beitar should stay pure. Ooh, racist. That's why I like them. They say the truth. I mean, a bunch of hooligans. But, but they are correct according to that. They are correct. And it says further, the Rambam, this is going to be very long. You don't mind?
Thank you.
Okay. Lock the door, nobody leave. It says, I'll tell you, it's very difficult to deal with this sometimes because you learn those things. I feel like screaming. And I'm scared because I don't know where it's going to lead us at the end. It's terrible. It says, even if he's just on non-permanent, he's here for a while. Or if he's doing business, he should not pass until he accepts upon himself Sheva Mitzvot Bnei Noach. That's it. This is immigration law. I mean, aren't we allowed to have immigration law? What is this? Europe? Because of the great liberalism in Europe, they're going to have, who knows what there. Nazis are coming up again in Europe because of great liberalism. Liberalism is an infectious disease. Should tell the CDC in Atlanta. And it says, the Rambam, Shene'emar, lo yishvu be'artzecha, should not settle down in your land, afilu sha'ah. Lashevet means I'm settled down for a long time. Settle down. Lit yeshev, yeshuv, meyushav. I'm settling down. Even if it's only for an hour. Afilu sha'ah. Habibi, you're not sitting down there. So from the Rambam, it seems that the prohibition on settling down in the land is not only on Sheva Mitzvot Bnei Noach. The prohibition, according to the Rambam, Aliba the Rambam, is on any Gentiles not to settle down. I don't care what the Vatican owns. I don't care who bought the property. It's revoked. That's it. Let me tell you this. The whole entire, and Russia including, the whole entire world confiscated Jewish property. Hey, my parents, my family is from Spain. Huh? Please, give it back. I want my property back. My property, I can tell you where it is. From my mother's side in Zaragoza. My uncle visited the place that used to belong to my great-great-great-grandfather at 1392. I want it back. It's a darn church there now. I want it back. Who's going to give it to me? A punch in the eye, they'll give it to me. So why do I have to give it back to them? Why do the Russians had to have Migrasha, we're saying, the Russian courtyard back, and we had to give it to them? Who cares? Confiscated. Sefini. The Europeans are a bunch of hypocrites. They put the map. Everybody can annex anything. Shh, they're quiet. Quiet. Russia, like a little pussycat in the corner. Israel took parts of its land, which, by the way, whole entire Europe, Christian Europe, and including the Arabs, all based on our Bible. If the Jews have no right to the land, Christians have no right to open the mouth. Because therefore you're a liar. Don't believe in a word your Bible says. So therefore you have to take, goodbye. You gotta leave me alone. Lech mi po. The Ravad is disagreeing with the Rambam. The Ravad holds that the pasuk lo yishvu be'artzecha was said only on the 7 nations. And the Ravad is a little difficult from the Mishnah and the Gemara says. He says mashma isur lo techunam. The opinion of the Ravad is a little derived. The Ravad, Ravid. What's a Ravid? Ashkem Ravid will probably smack you over the head. What's a Hashem Shei lo Ravid? Because lo techunam chayam bekol haumot, as it says be'eretz Yisrael maskirin lahem batim. In Eretz Yisrael you're allowed to rent houses for them. Aval lo sadot. You can't do land. Uvesuria in Syria, in a territory in proximity to Eretz Yisrael, mochrim batim umaskirim sadot. You're allowed to sell a house and you're allowed to rent a field. Uvechutz al haaretz, and outside for them mochrim elu ve'elu. So therefore, mashma, it seems like that in Eretz Yisrael, even to a regular goy, you're not allowed to. And even in the places they said to rent, lo levet dira amru, Masechet Avodah Zarah, in order for him not to settle down. And in the Gemara that says further, shelo leaskir machsan, not to rent even a storage house for them, and especially for them not to make a neighborhood, like they took over southern Tel Aviv with refugees from Eritrea, that now come and say, we going to throw all the Jews from this land, because that is land belongs to the Africans. There's 150 Eritreans. It's so bad the police is afraid to go there. And Israeli police is not known for the great obedience of law and human rights. They beat the daylight out of you. They don't go in there. The Tosfot in Avodah Zarah says, "V'stamad milta ma'iri b'chol hu nochrim." Just plain simple that it talks about when it's all goyim. That even the 7 umot, the 7 nations, the Knaani and so on and so forth, we don't know anymore. They got mixed up completely within the nations. Of course, the notorious Sancheriv came in and created mass ethnic cleansing and confused everybody. The Rambam, Tzalachot Isurei Biyah says, "Keshara Sancheriv melech Ashur bilbel kol haumot, vir bevam ze bazeh, he mixed them all up, v'yigla otam imkomam." He took this one from this one and put it to this. The same thing as the Soviets did, the same thing Sancheriv did. Yeah, they learned from him, yes. And it says, "V'chen ha'edomim shebesdei Edom, oil v'netarbebu sheva amamim." Even those Edomites that settled down in Edom, since the 7 nations got mixed up in them, akol mutar, right? Shekol haporesh mehem liitgayer We say, call the parish the miberuba parish. So anyone from that separates himself to convert, right? We can take him. And therefore, if the Isu is only in Sheva Amamim, so therefore, why is the Mishnah doesn't say in those days? The Mishnah refers to it as it continues on. So the Chazon Ish, we can do it. The Chazon Ish had a teirutz for that. He said that there are two different similar mitzvot. Lo techunem v'lo yishvu be'artzecha. Don't kiss up to them and don't let them settle down in your land. According to the Ravad, it says what the Ravad refers to, lo yishvu be'artzecha, they should not settle down in your land. Which is the premises of this prohibition is a little different than the prohibition of lo techunem. You should not kiss up with them. In other words, you should put some daylight between them, as they say. And the Mishnah and the Gemara that we said before dealt with the Yisur of lo techunem, which today applies to all nations, even according to the Ravad. And the Mishnah and the Gemara did not deal with the premises of the Yisur of lo yishu be'artzecha. Why? Because according to the Ravad, that prohibition has no meaning today, practically, because they got all mixed up. So therefore, what is the difference between lo yishvu be'artzecha and lo techunem? What does it mean? That in the commandments of lo yishvu be'artzecha, they should not settle down in your land. Lo yishvu, we are obligated to initiate an evacuation, and that chiyuv is on each and every one from Israel to evacuate a goy, וכל שכן מי שמוכר לו בית הוא שמזכירו שעובד בלא תעשה. And even more so, if you are renting a house or you selling a house, you are violating a לא תעשה מדאורייתא. Tell this to all the people today in Israel. I guess Airbnb would not hold in the times of Mashiach. And if you compare that to the Isur of Lo Techunem, we don't need to initiate, just we're not supposed to sell them. Dirot and so on and so forth, but we don't have to initiate an evacuation. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol niyeh b'dvaro.
Amen.
Now, the Rambam holds that also Lo Techunem v'lo yishvu be'artzecha applies to all nations, not only to them. However, there is a difference, there's a chiluk, there's a difference between them. Because on the mitzvah, Lo yishvu be'artzecha, the case of Mishnah wrote, according to the Rambam, Ki goy yachol lekabel atzmo sheva mitzvot v'lo negaresh oto. If he accepts upon himself sheva mitzvot b'nei Noach, he has the right to settle down in Eretz Israel. It seems to say, the case of Mishnah says, the en achiname. Or should I say, the in achiname. This is how should I correct myself. I became Ashkenazi in later age. In achiname. Here, yes, here too. If the goy accepted, again, from himself, Sheva mitzvot b'nei Noach, and monim oto miyeshivat haaretz, and we can prevent him from settling down in the land, ולא בא לומר, אלא שאין בית דין מקבלים אותו. However, if he's not going to keep Sheva mitzvot b'nei Noach, we are obligated to initiate and to throw him out of the land. According to that, if you compare with this mitzvot lo techunem, it says, as the Bet Yosef writes in Choshen Mishneh Siman Resh Mem Tet. I don't like this quoting because it doesn't make a difference that the goy comes to us and he says, "Excuse me, I accepted Sheva Mitzvot B'nei Noach. Thank you very much. I'm a Noachite. Oh, Chazak u'Baruch, a Noachite." It doesn't work like that. Again, there are so many people today who are trying to do it, to accept him, and so on. I guess they have many things to do. I don't know. It says he needs to do so. He needs to do so in front of Beitim. That's what the Bet Yosef writes. Lo techunem applies even to Muslims today. We know that Muslims lefi halacha, even though I'm quite not sure why, because the process that they have spinning around the Kaaba, the big black stone, is basically a practice in which was received from Marcus. So that's why they take the rock and throw the rocks. And the Satan, el-Shaitan, el-Shaitan. A'uz billah min al-Shaitan al-Rajim. Right? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. A'uz billah el-Shaitan al-Rajim. Shaitan, Satan. Bo knows diddly. Arabic. Am I right? But you don't know. You can speak. I can write it too if you want. Anyway, so he goes like that. He says, even because we know that the Muslims are not considered to be of the Avodah Zarah, to the fact that we are allowed to go. You can go to a mosque where you're not allowed to go to a church. It says to a Muslim, even if they will keep Sheva Mitzvot B'nai Noach, right? Even though we're not going to accept, we're not going to throw away or push away a guy who keeps it by himself, who says accept it upon himself, but we should not help him, because the appropriate process to become a Noachite, you have to go in front of Beit Din and accept upon himself. But if a person comes and says, I'm keeping Sheva Mitzvot B'nai Noach, it's kind of a quasi thing, because I'm not supposed to throw him out of the country, but I'm not obligated to help him, because I am obligated to help a ger toshav. It says that wasn't given to him as a gift. Lo niten lo chen v'lo nimkor lo bayit midim lo techunem. So it applies also to non-goyim. To non-sheva amin. Lo techunem applies. So therefore, do the Muslims keep Sheva Mitzvot B'nai Noach? That is the question. I don't think so. I don't think so. One of the things of Sheva Mitzvot B'nai Noach, okay, so they believe in Allah. Yeah, Allah snack bar. Yeah. But they kill. Oh boy, they kill. So, time's up, buddy, out. Kahana was right. Ethnic cleansing. Lutinaf, even more so. Going with Jewish girls, bichlal, yalla, goodbye, good luck. Right? So we mentioned before the Rambam, it says, "V'im kibel alav sheva mitzvot b'no charei ze ger toshav, ve'en mekablim ger toshav, ela bezman sha'yovel noheg." We're not accepting a person as a ger toshav unless it's time of yovel, right? But if it's not yovel, we don't accept any foreigner to the land unless he is a ger tzedek, and here needs to be a distinction between a ger tzedek and a ger toshav. A ger toshav is a resident alien. A ger tzedek is one of us. He's a brother, one of us. Yes, he has things he cannot be nasi, okay, but he's a Jew just like anybody else. He is a Jew, period. He is not under the category. And you should not call people who are converts geirim. They're not geirim, they're Jews. When we say ger, refers to ger toshav. He is a Jew just like me, and if all the obligations that I'm obligated to my own blood brother, I'm obligated to the ger, chilul Shabbat, and so on and so forth. He's a Jew. He's a Jew. No questions asked. He's a Jew. He goes like anything else. It says, and the Yovel noheg rak shekol Yisrael yoshev al admato. Very interesting what the Rambam is telling us here. The reason is that the halacha says that if there is a ger toshav, I am obligated lechayoto. I'm obligated for his well-being, social responsibility. I have to take care of him. Even if I don't have the means, sell what you have to support him. That's what Kadosh Baruch Hu wants. You're not going to leave these people. They accept the Sheva Mitzvot B'nai Noach. They couldn't see that in them to become a ger tzedek. They're in your land. They accept it upon themselves, whatever. It's your obligation to take care of them. So therefore, if we're going to say so, and if ger toshav is, as we see, is not always dependent only on Beit Din, so therefore, all of a sudden, all the poor people around the world, right? Guys, in Israel, they give you freebies. Everybody come to Israel, all the Jews would sell the shirts off the back to support you. Excuse me, that does not happen. Only when the Jews are. All the Jews are in Israel, and they have the ability to, Mashiach comes, and then we can take care of all the people. Until that point, you can't. So, today, we don't, and if Shlitat Israel, the control of Israel on the land, is not complete, you can't accept Gerei Toshav, only Gerei Tzedek. Therefore, as a result of that, you're not allowed to let a goy settle down in your land. In Sefer Bamidbar, we almost finished. In Sefer Bamidbar, the Torah continues, it says, and commend us, Le'orish Yoshvei Haaretz v'oreshtem et kol Yoshvei Haaretz mipnechem. And yalla, you get rid of all those people that sitting down in the land. Rashi explains to them, V'horashtem v'girashtem, and you should kick them out. The Torah continues and repeats it again. It says, V'horashtem et haaretz v'yeshavtem ba, and you would inhabit the land. Why? Ki lachem natati et haaretz lareshet ota. I gave it to you. Lareshet ota, Rashi explains that the mitzvat aseh, it is a condition. This mitzvat aseh, lareshet et haaretz, is a condition for us to live. It's okay. To live in the land. To live in the land. If you want to know why we don't hold the land today, is because we are not willing to do what needs to be done. It depends on that. And therefore, and only then, only then you could be mitkayem in Eretz Israel. If not, you would not be able to live in the land. Depends on your willingness to destroy the people, to throw them out. Habibi, Muslims, you see, they don't have a problem to go anywhere. They drown, they'll go whatever. They go anywhere. They'll come to Deer Park, Michigan. They go to Norway. Let them go. They go to Germany. Millions. Go. Leave me alone. Leave me with my land. Lechu. Now, let me explain to you something. The problem is, because they, as we said before, they bring the worst in us out, and then we lose a hold in the land. Look at what is going on to the Jewish identity in Israel. Rivka knows that. Rivka is aware of that. And she said, sometimes I wish I was never born at all. You know, the song, the Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody. What's the point of me coming to this world, Rivka says, if from these girls is going to come the biggest obstacles into Jewish life, which is Amalek, and whatever else resembles Amalek, which is going to chase the existence of Am Yisrael in a way, which the purpose of me living here. And this comes from, again, the weakness of Esav, where he's depressed. I don't need this anymore. When he's angry, and you cannot see the things the right way. As a Jew, there is no room inside of you for being depressed. Okay, chemically, whatever. Things don't work, it's okay. But to pull into despair, Yeush, any Yeush ba'olam, what are you giving up? The reason why, and I see it all the time, somebody's angry about something, it doesn't make a difference what it is. And you should see, this is why they say a person who is meyuash, azov ani meyuash me'achayim, has desperation of life. Desperado, right? He's desperate. And he's angry, we say, it's like oved avodah zarah. Lama? Very simple. Im ata koes, you see what kaas does to you. Anger does to you. And when you're desperate, and you're in great despair, en lecha emunah b'kadosh baruch hu. It's mi ata oved. You say, when you say, azov, en li cheshek l'chaim, akol ze. What you're saying, in other words, en li cheshek chaz v'shalom to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How can you say that? When you say that, you like Oved Avodah Zarah. Bnot Chet were able to blindfold Yitzchak to such an extent, he didn't have Ruach HaKodesh. And if you look very carefully, when somebody is angry, and again, it does not make a difference what is he angry about. He's upset with this one. He aggravated me today. He's going down to my life. I'll kill him. Angry. Chazal says, when Chazal tells us, Kol HaKoes Kilu Oved Avodah Zarah, Chazal didn't say, Kol HaKoes and has no reason, or his reason is stupid. Kol HaKoes, period. Because you can't see anything, you're blind. People like this usually don't stay religious for a long time. And if they start developing a certain anger, they're out. I'm telling you, they're out. People who develop great desperation, there's no hope. I call avud. Lose faith as well. Because they can't see the HaKadosh Baruch Hu here. Takum, get up and do it. So lo tov lecha po in New York. Go to Arizona. Go to New Zealand. Go to Australia. הייתי באוסטרליה. הייתי באפריקה. You know? תלך, תעשה משהו. This job is not good for you, to switch something else. מה אתה מתייאש? What does that do you בייאש? Why? Because you don't believe HaKadosh Baruch Hu is helping you. Things happen all the time. But you can't give up. Whatever it is. Whatever it is. People after the Holocaust had any reason in the world to give up. They didn't. Look at Belz, what they did. Belz built an empire. So other people, Satmar, all these people. Don't give up. You give up, you will give up on God. Rivka Imenu says that's no point. If this doubt, this Amalek, is going to come and is going to eat my people, what's the point of all this? That's why Rivka is amazing. She says, don't worry. I'm going to do whatever I can. When Rivka is doing that, she's not doing this for Yaakov because she loves Yaakov more than Esav. You think that Rivka did not love Esav? She is his mother. And he's a troubled kid. But she can't take that, what those girls do to him. Rabotai, pay very close attention to who you're dating and who you're going on a date. Tizaru, be careful from people who are angry, from people who are depressed, from people who would try to bring the worst in you in order to manipulate you to do what they want. And what the Bnei Chat did, don't be a pawn in somebody else's life. You know exactly with clarity what is your job and what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from you, what needs to be done. You know it like a prophet, you know it. You know it like a prophet. And don't be shy to open your mouth and say, Rabotai, this is wrong and this should be changed. Carry on the spirit of Rivka Imenu. Because Rabotai, there's not a lot of time left. There's not a lot of time left. So let's help our mother, Rivka, today see a purpose in her life. That we remove all the doubts of ourselves. And you see how Amalek goes together with Living HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hasiru safek, even if it's ve'alacha. Learn the halachot, so you won't have a safek. What do we say? It's a beautiful halacha. It's an amazing halacha. We learned this. It's an amazing halacha. If a person learned, and let's say, for example, he is not quite sure on the makeup or the item, he's not quite sure which bracha to say, so go one down, cover all bases. I'm not sure the makeup on the mitziut. However, if the person doesn't know which bracha to say or what, because you did not learn, the halacha says don't eat. Al tochal. Don't eat. Lech tilmad. Learn how to remove safek from your heart on anything you do. Clear path on what needs to be done. And safek. Because the safek will come, the doubt will come. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is right after that. You're going to throw HaKadosh Baruch Hu out of your life. But don't get angry. it's not worth it. Whatever you get angry today, and I'm sure most of us got angry about something today, I'm willing to bet anything I have, 50 years from now, if that idea, you won't get angry over it. I'm willing to bet you. You're angry now. 50 years from now, it doesn't make any difference. I got angry, Think about why you got angry 20 years ago, if you were, But, listen, I don't know why I made such a big deal out of it. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. The things that happened to me and the people did to me, at the time I was ready to do somebody. I says, it happened. We keep on going, and today we can sit down and actually, if we were obsessed with this, we won't sit down here and learn. The only thing which I'm angry about, is chas v'shalom kavod shamayim. Kavod shamayim mitchalel chas v'shalom, because it's not mine to forgive. Kavod shamayim is something that you have to go to the extreme. Kavod shamayim. That's shtiyot. So first of all, don't be angry. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Your blood pressure goes up. Your life goes short. It's not worth it. Second, never give up. Never give up. You say a cat has 9 souls. The Jewish person has millions of souls. Never give up. There's always hope. If you're always in movement, something will happen. And when something happens, it's only because you were moving. This business didn't go. Okay, malesh, we'll do something else. This didn't work. Malesh, we'll do something else. Lo nora. No big deal. Never give up. The 2 worst crimes that we do against ourselves, anger and despair. After that comes a doubt, bichlal. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I don't know what God wants from me, I don't know what He's doing it to me, guess what? God, I'm out of here. I left you. And that's usually what happens. That's the lesson of this week's parasha. And again, midoraita, a non-Jew, including a Muslim, is not allowed to settle down in Eretz Israel. Is not allowed to settle down in Eretz Israel unless kibel al atzmo sheva mitzvot b'nei Noach, which applies only in the time of Yovel. We don't accept ger toshav. And another thing, Rabotai, never, ever lose your Jewish identity and your Jewish morals. This is the most important thing. Never be embarrassed to be a Jew. If you have a problem wearing a kippah, somebody calls you a dirty Jew, go learn Kav Maga, God like this, take care of him, he will stop. But never be embarrassed of the fact that you're a Jew. To you, chazakim inside. And I'll tell you something, why did the Gemara, the Mishnah said to us, and that's how the Shulchan Aruch started, להיות אז כנמר וגיבור כארי. למה? תהיה אז יותר מנמר. תהיה יותר מארי. According to your abilities, so you have to know who you are yourself. Then you could develop the gvura, the might, the courage inside of you. But first of all, you got to know who you are. תהיה כמו זה, אבל תהיה. אל תהיה יותר. Don't do more, because then you're going to fall down. This is the derech of the Rambam. Don't be embarrassed to say, especially today, if there's a bombardment against Jews settling down in Eretz Israel, don't be embarrassed to open your mouth. Don't be embarrassed. You know what the truth. When you keep quiet, it goes into your head. You're going to come later on, be like those Jews that went to the kotel, those Jewish ladies who went to the kotel this week, and they had to boycott Israel in the kotel. Okay? It will go like this. Open your mouth. You know what's the right. You know what the Torah says. And if a Christian tells you that, give it back to them. If a Muslim tells you that, give it back to them. If a Muslim comes and asks you, you tell them, are you a moderate Muslim or are you a radical? I say, I'm a moderate. Every Muslim will tell you he's a moderate Muslim. Tell him, do you like Sharia law? Yes. Do you want men and women to be separate, women to be covered? Yes. Do you want homosexuals to be beheaded? Yes. So you're not moderate. Yeah. Don't say it. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed to say the truth. When you deny the truth, you deny yourself, you deny Kadosh Baruch Hu. We cannot do it. And I'm going to tell you this. This is the battle cry of Am Israel. And with this I'm going to finish. Am Israel Chai. Shabbat Shalom.